Thanks.
All right, it's a little after 3. I'm going to call the meeting to order. You all set, Ed?
Thanks, bye.
Is there a motion and a second to approve the March 29th meeting minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I do.
Okay, any errors or omissions? If not, all those in favor of approving the minutes for the March 29th meeting, signify by saying yes. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, Susan isn't here, but does anybody have any sort of a trails update? No. Okay, Amanda?
Yes.
Okay.
and No. I'm trying to acquire the plan that was made for the trail behind the nursing home, which was a handicap loop, and then there was an exercise loop above it.
Okay.
We had some here. I've hunted all over, I've been in the vault and everything, and I can't seem to find one here, so I had to ask Wendy to see if she could find one, because she was the original designer of the trail.
Okay, okay.
So, we're working on that. As soon as we get that, we're gonna go out and walk and see what's.
Okay, great. So that's
what's out
still
there.
very much a work in progress then.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Great,
Yeah.
great.
The other thing is, apparently, in one of the designs, there were separate exercise stations, so they could
Uh-huh,
be on the handicap trail.
okay.
The wheelchair accessible trail.
Yeah.
And the next loop had exercise stations in it, so people that work here at lunch could go walk and they could do exercises or things of that nature. I spoke with the vocational center over in Wolfboro
Mhm.
and asked if they could have any help with the ag department. And he said that they have a new ag person in, and that probably between now and June, not, because they're kind of, their schedule's
Yeah.
all set. But to come and see him towards the end of August.
Okay, that's great.
Because they're going to the
Yeah,
summer.
that they can start, the new year, they can start different programs.
Correct.
Great, great. Just as far as the exercise thing, Memorial Hospital in North Conway has a small trail network, and they have exercise places along that trail as well, so I think that's an interesting idea to do that, yeah. Great. I got an email from Representative Cordelli, and he wanted to know if our committee would like to invite the new agricultural commissioner, Sean Jasper, up. And I told him that I would discuss this with the committee. I could just see this as a great opportunity. Sean is new at this, he's the new commissioner, and we may find out what resources they have to offer here, and also bring him up to speed as to what we're doing here as far as the agricultural component. So that's my thinking. What's the committee's feeling on this?
Well, I do know that he is interested in finding out what's going on agriculturally around the state. I was at a meeting a couple of weeks ago, and he came up specifically to meet with that group.
Okay.
Gave a talk and then, answered a bunch of questions.
So based on that, Sandy, do you think it'd be worthwhile
Sure,
to
why
invite
not?
the commissioner up here? Okay. Any other comments? Would you like me to get back to Glenn then and ask him to extend an invitation?
Sure.
Okay, I will do that. And I see we have our horse lady back
Yes,
again.
you do, yes, you do.
Well, thank you very much for coming.
Yeah, I did, before Susan did her thing, I whipped up a demographic survey.
Yep.
Went around to 8, I did half of the stables in Carroll County.
Oh,
I went-
okay.
I spent one Sunday going around and
Yep.
interviewing people, seeing what they wanted, seeing what their age groups were and that kind of thing, so I got that. So that's all here, and I
Great.
sent some information to Susan.
Is that for the committee to have?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
So I
great.
gave it to Susan, I emailed her with some
Okay,
information. and
good.
some-
So
some
Susan
things
has
that
it
were-
then. Susan
yes,
has it. Okay,
and
good.
she had it for the presentation, it was like some glaring things. It was more, Every barn I went to had a more mature group
Okay,
there on Sunday.
Okay.
You know, and there were between 10 and 12, 5, 6 at each barn.
Yep.
That sat and talked to me about it and what they wanted and what they would love to see, what they said, that's a waste of money because we bring our own and we do this or that. So that's all here.
How
And
many,
then
how many barns did you survey?
I went to 8 of the 16.
Okay.
That's a
And then I found 2 more hiding. So I found 2 more barns hiding. I didn't
Not
even-
hiding anymore. You
Not
found
hiding
them.
anymore, I got them.
Right.
And then I put my little self on PDF and went to Equestrian Design Guidebook for Trails and Trailheads and Campgrounds.
Yep.
Of what would be some acceptable widths and treads.
Okay. Yep.
And features that could make designing trails and trail settings and that kind of stuff. So that's here too.
Great.
Wow, that's.
You've
I've
done a
been
lot of
busy.
work.
I have been busy.
We appreciate it very much.
So-
In the 8 centers that you talked with,
Yep.
what was the interest level in basically the fact that there may be miles of trails here? that-
Huge.
It was huge.
Huge.
Great,
The
great.
group at Brookfield Corner, there's an independent group that has taken over Brookfield Corner Farm.
Yep.
And there were like 6 of them there that day. And more mature people, they weren't youngsters, you know,
Yep,
kids
yep.
running around or anything. And they were really excited that they could go someplace safe and wide. It would be designed with
Yeah,
horses
yeah.
in mind and the safety
Yeah.
of the thing. So they were like, yeah, when does it start? I go,
That's great.
Soon.
Now,
Yeah.
And are they willing to work?
Yeah, actually, they are.
Were they willing to
Actually,
volunteer
are.
to do some of the work?
Yep,
That's
and
great.
Mich- and Mi-
That's
Up at
great.
Mishawam, I found 2 girls up there that would come and work too.
Great,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
And
And the
in
3
your,
girls at my
in
barn.
your survey and talking with
Yep.
people, were they aware of or brought to your attention other trails that we may be able to tie in with here to increase the network?
Yes and no. I'm still playing with Polly's Crossing, and I didn't realize there's an under-the-highway crossing out on 28 that you can get to Granite Road. Up
Okay.
beyond the Kindness Corner. There's an underneath up there,
Okay.
which I did not know was there's a train track and another one. Because I've been looking.
Interesting.
Yeah, when you look.
So-
I
at-
had-
Would
at
you
least
say
it-
that again, please?
All right, if you go to Kindness Corner and you make a left, there's a train track that runs under 28, and there's another little crossing underneath the highway, which I did not know about.
I was not aware of that either.
I know, neither was I, until I started scoping things out and kept looking, saying, how can I get across this
Where
road?
does that train track go?
I do not know, but I'm,
To Boston.
yeah, really.
That's gotta be, that has to be it.
It's still snow-covered, whatever it is, it's
Yeah,
still snow-covered.
The
and
the track's abandoned from Ossipee going north, but actually the track was made active all the way up to the old train station in Ossipee. So
Would they be-
that's-
And
it
that
has to be
goes
coming-
under
It's
28?
gotta be coming across from that. I would
Yeah.
think.
Is there any way that if our trail network could tie into that we could use that abandoned railroad line for bicycling and horseback
You
riding?
have to
and so
get
forth?
underneath, once you get underneath,
Yeah.
you know, I'd have to go out and play with it a little bit and bring a horse up and see where I can go.
Yeah.
and, you
Is
know,
the
follow
track
it.
still there?
It's
Track's
snow
still
covered.
there.
It's
Track's
still there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, well, there's Wolfboro Rail Trail.
Yeah,
in there.
the problem is where they just, Boston Sand and Gravel or the parent company, I can't think of the parent company right now, South Coast or North Coast. They activated the line from Boston, from Ossipee Ag into a point in Ossipee. So the snowmobiles who had been using it before are supposed to not use it. So I don't know at what point where that culvert lies, but I know the people, we can have conversations. So, that's good, that's great stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Thank
So
you,
so
Jan.
you're halfway there, is what you're telling me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
That's wonderful.
yeah.
It's
Get-
absolutely wonderful.
I come up and
Yeah.
park my pony and take my pony out when it gets snow cleared.
Yeah.
I can scope some of it
Well,
out.
thank you very much. We
Those
appreciate
are
that.
the questions I asked that was coming
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
Of who they were, the people who they are, and then what they would like to
And
have.
how many of these certain questionnaires have you gotten back?
I did it right then and there.
Oh,
I
oh.
took it right then and there. They're all here in my little
Oh, okay.
collection.
So you
Okay.
got 100% response. That's
Yes, I
incredible.
did. That's right. That's right.
It saves the postage besides.
Right, and there was no delay in response.
Yeah, yeah,
And
that's
it was,
great. Yeah.
Well, so is there one of these per stable?
Oh, one of these per rider.
One per rider.
Yeah. One
per rider,
Yeah,
that's
because
good.
this is like,
And if you haven't already, you're going to give these to Susan again so that she
Yeah,
can
I
basically
would.
get a sense of the interest.
and the things
That's
I
great.
asked them about, would you, how comfortable would you be using the trails? How often would you use it? Once I found out their age groups and who they actually were on the demographics.
Oh,
to see
there's
who-
another-
this- First, I found out who they were.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Are you mature? Are you a youngster? Are
Yeah.
you spending a lot of money? Do you buy your horse for trails, whatever? And then I said, how long would you spend on the trails? What types of amenities would you like to see at this site? How often do you ride on trails? Have you purchased trail riding equipment? So I got an economics survey in here kind of too. When you go out for the day, how much money do you spend on that day? Just to
Yeah.
kind of put that as a kicker.
Okay,
Have you ever purchased a horse just for the sole purpose of trail riding to see, are they bringing their dressage
Yeah.
50,000 out, or are they just, but surprisingly, there've been a lot. They buy horses just for trail riding.
interesting.
So, yeah,
Interesting.
kind
Yeah.
of blew my mind away.
So how many horses would you say that we're talking about here? And
Well,
based on-
everyone had one, if not three.
Okay,
And how many riders did you?
How many riders did you-
Let's see here. Over there. Let me find my tally sheet. Talk about something else, I'll find my tally sheet. 25 or 30, I bet there were at least 30.
okay.
that I talked
And every
to
one of
that
those
day.
had at least one horse?
Yes, at least
Okay,
one.
So there's a minimum of 30 horses that we're talking about here?
Right.
Minimum, Okay.
Yeah,
And you went just one day.
I just went the one day on a
And
Sunday.
that was
I-
8, that was only half of the,
And
less
half
than
of the
half, because
availables.
you found 2 more.
Yeah.
They added to the 16, so now there's 18.
Right.
Okay, all right.
But the point I wanted to make was that's not necessarily all the people involved with that
Correct.
particular stable.
Yes.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And then, I got a feel for the stable too. It's like, so, how many other, well, would you bring the kids along? Do you think, some of the younger riders would come? Are they afraid of
Yeah.
whatever?
Yeah.
But, just get a feel of them.
And the stables that you did go to, they're within an easy distance here from the county lands, so it's not a big, long trip for them to have access to use it?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
good.
Brookfield's quite.
Brookfield's right over,
Yeah.
just a scooch over on
Yeah.
Less than
7-Eleven.
15
Oh,
minutes.
oh,
Yeah,
I'm
15.
thinking
Yeah.
of the, as in town of Brookfield.
No, Brookfield Corner. I did Mishwam, I did Burt Meadow, I did Stoneview, I did my own barn, I did North Star up in Wakefield, and I got some others, the other
Is
folders
that
up
the
in
one
front.
on Pine River Pond Road?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. They changed the names.
Yes, again.
That's great. You've done good. Thank you
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you.
And Susan will have all this information to
I will,
add to-
yeah,
okay,
well,
good.
when I see
Okay.
her, I can give her what she
Yep.
wants and not
Okay,
clutter her
great,
up, just
good.
give her the,
I
Thank you
think
very
she
much.
had most of that when she was writing her report.
because I had emailed her some of the results and some of the more, like I said, the more outstanding facts of, trail markers were real important, restrooms were real important, online maps were real important.
Yeah,
Like if you
yeah.
could
Yeah.
put them in your pocket when you're here,
Yeah.
when you get here. Water surprisingly wasn't as big a deal as, having
We'll
fresh
take
water.
it.
Yeah, they'll bring it home from home. So it's
Yeah.
kind of-
What about the horses, though?
They bring their water from home, so they'll drink it,
The
so
horses, huh?
the stuff they're familiar with.
Animals usually won't drink foreign water, meaning from some other
Yeah.
source than
Yeah.
what they're used to.
That's interesting,
Yeah.
interesting. So when you're riding, does that mean if you go by a brook, a little body of water, they're not gonna stop and drink?
A good trail horse will, but
Yeah, a good one will.
Yeah.
when
Okay.
they know they're out there.
Remember, you lead a horse to water.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
All right.
This is really very-
Anything else? Mr. Comeau?
I got through to Representative Cordelli, and he'll be setting up that visitation. from
Thank you very much.
Agricultural.
Okay, I will, I will email Glenn as well to give him the date.
Sure.
We're on every other week schedule here now, so today's the 13th, probably the 27th.
Okay, I'll tell him the 27th, but still
Yeah.
send him the email.
Pardon me?
Still send him the email.
Yes, and I'll copy you. Thank you very much. All right, anything else?
Just,
Well, you've done good. Again, thank you very much.
and I went to a
Appreciate it.
New Hampshire Horse Council meeting last month,
Okay,
so that's back on.
all
And they
right.
know we exist.
Oh, good.
You know, working it.
Now we get down to the paperwork, the RFP, the request for proposal.
Would you like an update on the commissioners first?
Sure, okay.
I believe as of today, the RFP for the lease of the blueberries went into the papers.
Great,
And
great.
it's very general. has
Yep.
No specifics in it. Ask people what they would do to benefit the blueberries.
Okay,
It's pretty open. I did speak with the people, they had a lesson on how to trim blueberries and things here, and I missed that.
I think it's tomorrow.
Oh, it's
I
tomorrow?
think it's tomorrow.
Well, then maybe I didn't miss it.
There you go. You get a second shot at it. I think it is tomorrow.
I was a little busy
though.
last Saturday, but I also spoke this week with the people that came to have their scales, people that have inspected their scales. The state comes in, I believe,
Yep.
and
Yep.
verifies that their scales are accurate for home sales and
Markets.
markets. So I did speak with that cluster of people. There must have been, probably 20.
Oh, those farmers that, yeah.
Right, and I explained to them and I showed them, told them they could go down and look at the blueberries if they wanted to when they were done getting their scales done, and that if they were at all interested, to please contact the office up here.
Could we see a copy of the RFP?
Yeah. I don't have one printed out, but I got one on my phone.
Yeah, can I just send it to me, please? I don't understand what you mean by very general. Did you say that the blueberries fields are available for a lease, or?
Yes.
Okay.
We did not say, the requirements would be you had to fertilize them and you'd have to do this and you had to do, we didn't put any restrictions. I was under the impression that when they went to lease something else, in previous years, they put a lot of restrictions on them at the beginning, so.
Did you put anything in there as far as compensation for the county?
I will read it to you, and that way we'll have it on TV. Carroll County request for proposal. The Carroll County Commissioners are seeking proposals for the lease of a 1-acre blueberry field with approximately 1,000 high bush blueberry plants. The bid award will be for a minimum of 5 years. Bidders are welcome to schedule a site visit by calling Will DeWitt. The awarded bid will be required to enter into a lease agreement with the Carroll County Commissioners. Lease details are available by contacting Ken Robichaud. The bid proposal is due on April 26th at 3 p.m. All proposals shall be in a sealed envelope marked berry patch, et cetera, et cetera. That's just normal stuff. And, we reserve the right to reject any and all bids.
Mhm.
So that's what I meant by it was pretty
Okay.
open and general.
Picking up on Mark's comment, I know as a committee, when we had discussed that, there was concern that the blueberry bushes had not been maintained and that they were degrading, and we're hoping that a lease would basically incorporate that they would be brought up to full production. Is that something that's going to be discussed with either Will or Ken?
For what?
That the blueberry fields will be brought up to full production and maintained, fertilized and so forth and so on?
Well, that would be in the lease.
Okay, yes, that's.
And I'm not sure how detailed that'll be.
Okay,
The problem with the leases,
Yeah.
and it's no matter what, because it's a county lease, it has a lot of legalese in it.
yeah.
That it's just, covers the county's general stuff.
Mhm.
But other than that, I'd like to keep it pretty, what's the word? Understandable by the common man.
Yeah,
you know,
But is the goal that at the end of the 5-year lease, the blueberry patch is in better condition than it's in today? Is that the hope?
well, it would be that it's in at least the minimum condition it's in today.
Okay, okay.
The only thing right now, I think one of the things that would be in the lease is that the soil would have to be tested and the proper pH
Yeah,
maintained.
yeah.
I think that may be one of the problems right now.
Okay.
Because I think the pH might be a little high with blueberries.
Okay.
Blueberries like it pretty sour, but they were put in a
Okay.
hay field, so that would be the only.
To pick up on Dale's comments, see, I said Dale, not Mark. To pick up, is there, in the lease, would there be any compensation for the county on this?
Yeah.
And it would be, okay.
They're supposed to put in a bid
Yeah.
as to what they would be
Yeah.
willing to lease it for and what they would do for that.
Okay, all right, good.
That's,
Well, that's, glad to see that.
And if I could,
Yes.
Amanda, so the phone numbers that they're given, are they given Ken's phone number or the county's phone number? Whose phone number is the contact?
well, they just said.
And
Will DeWitt's number's there. He has a phone in his building, a 539 number, and that's the one given, 539-5125.
And will have a handout for them that this is produced X number of dollars in this year and so many this year? I want to make sure that whenever someone makes that contact, and I thought maybe it'd go through Ken, but whoever makes that contact, they know where production's been and a little brief history on it. Just so.
We could do that. I
So
wouldn't-
everybody knows up front.
I
Otherwise-
suppose that's only right, that they should know that their
Yeah.
production hasn't been that great.
But they should know that, you know, it was producing this, you know, when we were fully caring for this, and give them some sort of a history over where it is, I would hope.
Also, the age and age of the plant and the variety.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure anyone knows the variety. I was
Oh,
surprised to
you're
learn
kidding.
that they have been transplanted. They were transplanted from someplace down there, I think when they built the nursing home. But don't quote me at that because I'm not sure. So what I will do is handouts for site
This
visits.
will make it tough then.
We can.
Is there more than one variety in that?
I
We don't know that
do
either?
not know. I will talk with Commissioner Sorensen, because he was the blueberry
Yeah,
expert.
Yes, yeah. Good
And
choice,
that was his
Amanda.
project, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And he did spray them a small portion. I think he was using different sprays to see how they worked differently and things of that nature, but I don't know.
That's been a while.
It was only 2 years ago he was here.
Oh, really? Okay.
Spring. So, you know, I still think that the biggest part of the reason that the blueberry production has not been high is because it's been a pick your own on weekends for the past 2 years.
Mhm.
Before that, the inmates picked them.
Yeah,
And I'm not sure what they did with them. I think they gave some to the nursing home, and they sold some, I gather. I don't know for sure. But I think that's why the production's been down, is because all we have for records is what pick-your-own people came in and
Yeah,
paid
yeah.
for on the weekends. And it was just weekends, because
Yeah.
it was only, I guess it was both days, Saturdays and Sundays. But if it rained or something, we didn't do it.
yeah.
Because I came in and I volunteered and sat and collected money, and Dave Babson did it many days.
Yeah.
So,
When
Last
we
year was a
discussed
short
that,
season too.
when we discussed that several meetings back, maybe I'm imagining this, but we did have a brief production history there.
We did.
And you're right, Amanda, when it became pick your own, production dropped. But did I remember that the year before, when it was that the production was, or the dollar, the revenue generated was significantly higher?
Well, when the other committee did a report,
Yeah,
they had, let's see, they had wood sales, they had timber sales. Come on, one more page back. Well, let's see, we got hay. I thought they had,
I thought I remembered a dollar figure for the blueberries.
okay, here we go.
Okay,
But they mixed them in with the vegetables.
okay, all right.
Vegetables and blueberry sales were put together.
Okay,
So, yeah, and it's a little confusing because they had, I think 2016, they didn't have any vegetables, and that might be all blueberries, the 694. But I couldn't swear to
Okay.
that. This is 2016.
That'd be too growing.
2017.
Yeah.
2017
Yeah.
is the only season I was
okay,
participant.
yeah, I remember you mentioning you were out there in Bay on the weekends.
And production would be a different number than revenue anyway.
It would be, but, yeah,
But I'm
but it'd
not,
give you some idea what the production was.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, you could have 10 people out there picking the blueberries on a pick your own, but you don't know how many blueberries are out there ready to be picked. So your production numbers, if you had someone out there picking every ripe blueberry, your production number and revenue number would be closer together, but you just have sporadic people going to pick your own. You don't know how many harvestable blueberries you have in the field.
How many were wasted, not picked?
Right, exactly. So
Yeah.
your production numbers are gonna be different than your revenue numbers, I would assume.
And my understanding in the past was we always heard about what's your size container you put blueberries in, what's that?
1 quart.
Quarter,
I
pints, or-
I had heard that so many quarts had been sold to the nursing home and so forth. So I think somebody has the data.
Okay.
Those aren't genetically engineered, I hope.
As far as I know, they don't get that way.
It's so funny, when you try to sound like a farmer.
I'm very concerned about those things.
Amanda, those have not been, the plants have not been pruned recently either, have they?
I think, I don't know about 2017, but I think in 2016 they were.
Okay.
You know, whether they were last year or not, I do not know.
Yeah,
I'll come to the pruning
yeah. I think-
tomorrow
I
and
think
we'll
it's
see.
tomorrow in the
In the
morning.
rain?
Is it gonna rain tomorrow?
Oh, yeah.
The next 4 days.
Yeah, it's gonna be miserable.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
probably won't do it.
Yeah,
They'll probably have a postponement.
okay, reschedule it, yeah.
But that person, if they come, should be able to have a pretty good evaluation of what's out there. My understanding is that there was pruning done all years but last year.
Okay.
Whether the whole, how much of it was done, but my understanding was it was being done.
Do we know if
Only
it's
one year
extension
on
that's putting on
What?
Is it extension that's putting on the pruning workshop tomorrow?
Usually they do that.
I
Yeah.
believe so.
Yeah. Okay.
I think there was some, I don't know, I do know it was supposed to be a $5 donation.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, that'll be through
Yeah.
Olivia.
All right, Billy Lord? Oh, I suppose
Bill
he
Lord is
doesn't.
retired.
Is he officially
Long,
retired?
Don't tell me how long ago.
Retired.
He was their small foods specialist.
was.
Yeah. Okay.
We used to pick corn together as teenagers.
Mm,
Well, thank you, Amanda. I appreciate the
One more
commissioner's-
question.
Yes, Dale.
So that's just going into what publications is that request for RFP going into?
I believe the newspapers,
Just like the Sun and the
Carroll County.
Carroll County, okay.
The Independent and the Grand
And
Slam.
and I think the Sun may be doing an article on it.
Are there any other avenues, like through Olivia or something, where they could be like a go-between? Because I'm sure they deal with these people all the time. If we give this information to them,
Market bulletin?
yeah, something like that, or just something to get it
That
more
you don't have
directly, a more direct route to potential
Yeah.
people filling out the RFP.
I would think Olivia would know other channels that you know, that she's aware of and maybe uses herself through extension.
Farm Bureau.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean.
yeah.
Farm Bureau already knows, I already
Okay.
announced that at our last
Okay.
meeting.
Okay.
And,
County website?
Yeah, and I would think the
Yeah.
extension would be
oh,
Yeah.
if,
an
I
incredible
will,
avenue for that.
Yeah, yeah.
we have a new county website that you might look at. I think you'll find it's easier to manipulate than the last one.
Okay.
I'll see if that's on there. Maybe we could actually
Yeah.
put a picture on there.
I'll be very interested to see what kind of a response we get on this, because I was told that in the past when they've tried it, they didn't get much of a response, not necessarily with blueberries, but the other thing, they didn't get much of a response
We
at all.
tried to rent a pasture field, last year.
Yeah.
We tried to free rent it,
Yeah,
but we did have some
There are some,
requirements. You had to have insurance,
Yeah.
and you had
Supply
to
your own
make
water.
sure that you had, you could supply the food and water for your animals
Yeah, yeah.
and shelter.
yeah. Okay.
But we only had one response.
Is 2 weeks this time of year enough time to try and solicit information like?
if we get to the right people, yeah.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I think it's awfully busy for people right now.
Aren't we looking for the people that aren't busy though? That wanna be busy?
Don't we want busy people?
Or people that are busy that think they have more free time than they really do?
Well, the thing is, before the end of the month, by the 1st of May, things need to be being done.
Oh, without question.
You know, for this year's season, so.
I mean, you do pruning and upgrading of blueberry bushes when they're dormant, right? I mean, the closer we get into the season there, there's a possibility that they're not gonna be as dormant.
I forget when they set their fruit buds, if it's on current year's growth or previous year's growth. If it's previous year's growth, you would prune them.
When you prune apples? Are apples on last year's growth?
Well, you wouldn't do a pruning class if it was the wrong time of year.
No,
is
you
my
wouldn't.
guess.
No, you
Oh,
wouldn't.
good call.
I'm just thinking logically.
There you go.
Yeah,
Because I would
I
get
just-
homeowners going home
Yeah.
excited, you know, killing their
Yeah.
blueberries.
I believe it's tomorrow.
Be careful of that logical.
That they're having the pruning workshop down here tomorrow,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna go on the basis that the people who are doing it know the season.
When's the right time to
When's
do
the
it.
right time to do it.
Okay, and I will contact Olivia and make
Yeah.
sure she is the one doing it
Yeah.
and give her a copy of the
Yeah.
What
application.
was your concern about the timing, Mark?
I just didn't know, we have a blueberry crop that hasn't been taken care of for more than
Right.
a year.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering if 2 weeks' notice in limited capacity to people is enough to solicit real support. Or whether, you know, if you get to the 2 weeks and you don't have much, you extend it another 2 weeks, which might get us another blurb in the paper or something. Because nothing was started early last year, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering if, I know the commissioners are getting it out right away, and that's all fine. I'm just wondering if 2 weeks is too tight.
The big blurb at the pruning thing. I mean, big
Oh,
poster, big
good,
blurb right
actually.
there.
Well, what-
Could they
what-
Then you got
just
people
sign-
pruning, so why
Yeah.
not?
Well, we can say, you
Throw it out
know,
there.
we can leave it like it is, because it's already gone to the paper.
Yeah, no, I'm
But,
saying, been 2 weeks, we
if
can take a
nothing
look at it.
shows up in 2 weeks, we can repost for
Yeah.
another 2 weeks.
Hey, Just thinking about that, I mean, I don't know how many people are gonna show up tomorrow. Is there any sort of a handout? I mean, people who are interested in.
Yeah, you got a
in
captive
blueberries,
audience.
Right.
There may
Well,
be a
that's what
captive
I was
audience there
fine
tomorrow.
Yes,
To just elicit, you know, let people who are there know that, look, this field is for lease.
And let's not forget, if it doesn't work this year, we always have next year to put more effort in, or the commissioners have more effort, can have more time to put more effort in to try to do it differently, to get more input and support and RFP fill-outs. And just to close up shop here, the best time to prune blueberries is late winter while they're still dormant.
Okay, all right,
That's HGTV.
Oh.
okay,
Property Brothers would know
all
this.
right,
But yeah, there's always next year.
yeah.
And as long as we're working towards that same goal of getting someone to fix that blueberry patch, it will work eventually, I think.
We hope.
There also is a New Hampshire fruit and berries and vegetables, or fruit and berries organization. I'll see if I can find the list, the
Okay.
email,
Okay,
because people post things on that.
yeah. Why don't you, if you find anything, Cindy, why don't you give it to Amanda, to get into the commissioners, because,
Yeah.
you know, if the 2 weeks is a short enough time period, if it's too short a time, there may be other avenues that they can pursue after that.
Mhm.
We may want to get in touch with the Department of Agriculture here as well. They may be aware of other avenues and other associations.
Sure.
Get that word out there.
Here's a thought.
Yeah.
What if our research finds 4 or 5 different groups? What would it hurt if the Lands Committee made people aware that the commissioners have gone out for this? My only thought is they have a busy department and something could slip. Would that, I don't think we're overstepping ourselves if we have this network of farmers and people that know others, and you know, it's a sense of blurb from us to them to get to the commissioners.
Well,
I'm just thinking it might,
Sure.
because it's gonna have to pass through 1 or 2 people over here, where if you know, we know these people, then why don't we say that an RFP's been put out, here's the facility, contact them.
Or I can email everybody the RFP and then
Can
you
you do
can pass
that?
it on to whomever, wherever you
Yeah,
want.
can you,
What do you call, I'm seeing, showing past 5 years production in, it's not breed of plants, what do they call them?
Variety.
Sorry.
It's all right.
we do animals.
Yeah, on the side of the table, honey. Speak that language.
there's a lot of different varieties of blueberries out there.
Yeah, not many, yeah.
I've got 6 different varieties out in my backfield that I.
Well, then you can go down
How
and tell
many?
us what we got.
Yeah, if you're the blueberry expert at the
Hey,
table,
just because I got some
You
plants.
said you had plants.
I do.
that qualifies.
Sorensen will probably
Yeah,
know.
yeah, get in touch with Dave Sorensen. For years, he was the extension agent for the county and,
Yeah.
and with fruits and vegetables, so he would know. Okay, so a question before we move on. Who's gonna be doing this stuff? We've talked different things. Sandy, you're gonna be checking and doing?
Well, I'm going to, there's the New Hampshire Fruit and Vegetable, or Berries and Vegetables, one of those 2 outfits. Then there's Beginner Farmers.
Okay, and you will be contacting these groups?
Yeah, well, I'm a
Okay.
member of Beginner Farmers,
Yes, I
and
know
I
you
can
are.
just send something out to
Yeah,
the listserv.
okay.
And I also get the fruit and vegetable berries
Okay.
emails. So I'm not a member anymore, but I can send something out on that.
And Amanda, you said the Farm Bureau, the Carroll County Farm Bureau is aware of this. They've been notified. Okay.
What about Market Bulletin, or does that take too long?
I haven't, because I never use the market bulletin
Yeah.
anymore. There is a Carroll County Creatures website. It's Ossipee. I don't know if that's a Creatures
Farm Bureau
website,
does
farm
do
page or
communicate.
something. We could see about
Yeah,
that.
they also
Um,
have their new
You finding other stuff there, Amanda?
No, I'm trying to find Mark's
daily or
email, and I don't have it.
emails that go out.
Can you just give
Oh,
it?
my last name, McConkey, McConkey, number 2 at Hotmail.
K-E-Y.
Yep, number 2 at Hotmail.
Leave you, Charlie. I'm going to Grange now.
Okay.
That's my next stop is the
There's a
meeting.
Grange?
Thank you
Grange
very
meeting.
much. Again, thank you.
I thought they dissolved the Grange.
No.
Tufton Borough Grange. We're still
Something
on.
good. They've still got one? That's
Yeah.
good.
Yep. Getting bigger.
Good.
I know. I'm so
God,
excited.
they sold.
Keep us in the loop. We appreciate the information you're finding for us.
Thank you.
Mark, and you said that under the highway goes off to the old grain station, the old
I
train
can see
station
that,
over
maybe.
Yes,
where Clark's used to be.
correct.
So I could possibly
That's
park
my
there.
understanding. If you're saying it contains a railroad, that's where it is. yeah.
And there's another little crossing up there too.
Yeah, no, once you find those, let's map them and get them on.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
And I found Polly's Crossing out on Route 16, I found out where that comes out. And then I talked to Will about the dirt road that actually is that, and that's just a short cross up 171,
Yes.
just a pop over. Which could, you know, could just put signage across that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not bad.
No, 171 would be okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are, Georgina, are these yours?
No, actually, I borrowed them from
They
you.
make smaller
Okay.
phones.
I'll return them. so I don't get
Oh, it did show up.
Literally or
Oh,
something.
okay, send it.
Thanks.
Okay.
Been fun,
Anyway,
as always.
You have everybody in here's email, because mine are all Gmails. Here, I can send them.
And send it to, I think I've got Dale's here.
Okay. Amanda, do you have anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, thank you very much. All right. The RFP, the request for proposal. Drum roll there, fanfare.
The previous RFP was
Yes,
pretty,
The first committee did that.
yeah, that was pretty expansive.
My printer broke down, so I was unable to bring my copy. But I did mail it out, I think, to everybody else on the committee.
Yeah.
This was, the first committee spent a lot of time on that RFP, and when I found it again and looked at it, I thought it was pretty inclusive, and I thought just a real good place to start if we wanted to make any changes. Because our focus, the two things that we decided we wanted to focus on was basically the Educational Learning Center and agricultural production.
Okay, but it's not an educational learning center, it's an agricultural learning center.
Okay, all right.
Because educational and learning are the
Yeah,
same words.
okay. Agriculture is a little more limited than broad education. Okay. So, as I said, I was unable to print out my copy of what the first committee had done. Sandy, you
I brought
indicated
one copy.
You have taken a look at that.
Yeah, I mean, we've done some of the work that was outlined in this.
Yep.
And I think we could probably use this as a framework for putting together our own.
Yeah.
But I have not done
Okay.
any editing, I'll say.
Let me see if I can get some copies of that made.
Sure.
I'll work on
I've
this
got it on double-sided.
worksheet here. Okay.
You don't need the budget, do you?
No,
Okay.
be back in a minute.
Oh, Steve,
Yes.
that link that you sent out to that, how to write an RFP?
Yes.
This isn't too clear, but I managed to capture.
Okay, yeah.
Did it come
Um,
through, Mark?
Just that part of that website. If you wanted to,
Okay, so guess-
I don't know if you want
Is that
copies.
double- is that
That's
double page
double-sided
too?
too, yeah. I would save paper.
Okay. Let me see what I can do.
I hate to do this, but Sandy,
Yes.
where could I email that to you?
S,
Be careful, it's going on TV.
all right. Here, I'll write it down for you.
Dale, you too, please.
I'll tell you mine.
Okay.
already
I love
sent-
reading
I
emails.
just sent it to you.
Oh, you
Oh,
sent it
you
to me,
did.
thank you. Oh, yeah,
Did
I
you send
got
it to Sandy also?
I don't have Sandy's right here.
Okay, well, she's gonna give it to you, so I won't be. I guess.
Here, this is easier. You're closer.
Yep. send that to you.
I think I have yours.
I appreciate your acknowledgement.
Oh, why? I sent it to you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Should be on the way
All
through
right,
the
thanks.
airwaves somehow to you.
While waiting for Steve to get back, I came across an article in Wednesday's New York Times.
What are you doing reading that?
Well, I read that a couple times a week, and I read
Wow.
the Journal on the weekends, and
Look at you.
Where do you find all that spare time?
Yeah, no kidding.
oh well.
Priorities, Tom, priorities.
Yeah, priorities, gotta keep up to date, you know?
Right.
Get some news rather than the sun.
Oh, there's other news other than that paper?
Right.
Not, let's be nice.
Exactly.
If we can't
The,
be positive, let's not say anything. Sorry, teacher.
This
and me coming
particular
in.
article
Like
is
that,
talking
I like.
about the tight labor market, forcing restaurants to sometimes find creative ways to attract and retain people and to get them trained. And with UNH's culinary program at Thompson School going away at the end of 2019.
Oh, that's one of the programs they're eliminating?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, gosh.
You know, again, just what could we do with that kitchen?
I think we already have a,
A new one?
no, I think the commissioners have a
Memorandum.
MOU, I believe, a memorandum of understanding with an entity that is getting ready to make an offer.
For what?
For the kitchen, dining area, and some of the hall, I believe. I'm not sure exactly how much, but that's what they're over there. They're going to look at it. They gave us an MOU, and they're gonna go in and they're gonna look and evaluate it and have their people come in and see if it's sufficient for their uses.
Carroll County, sorry.
Oh, is that what it is?
Okay, that just means it's.
Well, it takes a lot of things potentially off the table.
It does.
Well, you don't know if they're gonna follow through.
Well, no, you
Well,
don't.
no, it's just a memorandum of understanding. We've had two others
Yeah.
that haven't followed through. I mean, they've gone in and had their people evaluate, and the result was that they weren't going to follow, they weren't going to do it.
Well, you guys had one group that did a lot of work, apparently, and then,
Due to medical issues,
Yeah, yeah.
they couldn't do it.
completed, yeah.
Right. So,
No, I think that's the original on that.
Okay.
I think
Yeah, those,
this is the original.
yeah, there's, no, I don't, there's. That's the original.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, this is a little fuzzy because I took a JPEG and then had to cut it to make it fit on, pages.
That's what I was looking for. I had thought that we all had copies of that at the beginning, but all I have the farm report, but I had thought there was an RFP included in that, but I can't.
There is, yeah, Steve just made copies of the
No, but
last one.
The original?
Yeah, the one that came
Was
out.
that part of the
There's that.
Thank you.
report or the committee report?
Please.
There's that.
Oh, there it is, right there, page, well, they're not listed by pages. I found it. It's on page 29 of the original appendix.
Got 'em.
Oh, I'm just saying, you also have it, because at the first meeting, you all got copies of these. I have it.
You already got it? Okay, good. Okay. All right. And I say, this is the, what we've got is the RFP that the first committee worked on. And if we don't have to reinvent it, I didn't see any sense in doing it.
You on call, Dale?
Let's start with the project outline. Is there anything in the project outline that we're looking at that basically has changed? Are we still interested, and the committee is interested in particular, in whether the farm might have a role to play in developing a more robust local food system within Carroll County? That's a general broad view, but isn't that pretty much where our focus has been?
Mhm.
Is that question geared more towards a government-funded food supply or a private food supply? The way I read that question is if the Carroll County farm could be the center, as opposed to what we're sort of going towards as a private-public combination thing.
Well, it's whether the farm might have a role to play. I mean, the breadth of that role is what I think maybe we're hoping to determine. But you're right, we have talked about public-private partnerships, and the county has expressed some reservations about financially committing getting back into the farm business.
But
So-
I thought our statement was to find optimal uses of Carroll
Yes,
County's.
yes, we were gonna have to change.
For the benefit of Carroll County
Yes,
residents and
right.
taxpayers.
We did, we did change the mission statement to some extent, so we'd have to change that.
But isn't that under the parameters we've been given? I know it doesn't say that in our mission statement, under the parameters we've been given, but we've been, as a committee, we've been given some guidelines as to how we're going to do it, or how we should go forward in trying to.
Well, food system, maybe I just don't understand what that means.
I'm sorry, Amanda. What is it you don't understand?
Well,
what it
when I
means?
think of a system, I think of, I don't know, cars and trucks and trains and,
Interrelated parts.
yeah.
Okay, well, that's, you think about the food system, it is interrelated
Yeah,
parts.
it is.
It's the logistics, the, well, there's the eaters, right? The end eaters on the tail end.
I'm not sure that's the tail end, that's all right.
Well, you're right. The primary beneficiaries. But then you've got, the retail establishments where people purchase the food. You've got the logistics for getting it from point A to point B. And then you've got the producers. And you've got the suppliers for those producers. The grain stores, the fertilizer companies.
So you're
Those are all
talking
part
about
of
an agricultural system, not a
But that's
food
all,
system.
it is part of the food system.
I think what Amanda's looking for here, as far as the farm goes, would be you have someone that comes in and stick with blueberries for a minute. Take over the blueberry fields. They grow their blueberries, they harvest their blueberries, they do whatever they want to do with their blueberries to process them, as far as they want to make jam, or they want to sell blueberries, or they want to make pies. And then go from the disbursement of said article to the public. So there's your food, and you can have, the way I could see it happening is you have a bunch of different entities all supplying a central location and dispersing food from the area.
You're talking about a food hub, and that's what they wanted
Exactly.
before. That's what this was
Yes.
all written about before, was
Right, and
a food hub.
So I think that's what they mean when you ask, what do they mean about a food system? I think that's what they're talking about.
A food hub.
I think so.
Yeah, see, and I think that's too limiting. I don't think, we're not interested in just a food hub.
Correct.
No, but that's one, or let's see, as far as
We
this
haven't
one
even looked
goes,
at a food hub.
it's one question for us, as far as agricultural. If we're doing the feasibility study on the learning center and agricultural production, that's one of the questions.
A food hub doesn't produce anything.
You're correct, but it's a cog in the wheel of,
Yes.
of getting a way for the growers to get their product to the public.
And sometimes, depending on, because there's so many definitions of food hub.
Oh, there is, depending on what
Uh,
you're selling.
No, there's more, it's broader than that. Sometimes it includes facilities for producing or manufacturing the food.
Exactly.
Right.
That's not anything I've ever read about a food hub.
There,
People bring it in to a central spot. That central spot is there so others can come and purchase, whether it be truckloads to go to Boston, or whether it be the local restaurant coming to buy a week's worth of meat, or that's what a food hub is.
Or it
It's
could,
a big grocery store.
you're right,
that's
but
one definition.
how cool would it be, thinking outside the box, and I'm sorry, I'm sticking with the blueberries, but you have someone that does the blueberries, then you have someone that's running that commercial kitchen that makes blueberries something. So you're involving two different entities on the same property, dealing with food, and they're processing it into something to give to sell, to make money to the public. Because we have all this land, plus we have a potential commercial kitchen, plus we're in a centralized location to a large area, you could do, yes, vegetables from the ground to the basket to the store. Or you could do the vegetables to the kitchen, making something different to go to the store. There's so many different angles and avenues we potentially could travel through here. I think, yeah, is that the normal food hub definition? No. But could it be? Yes.
It depends on who you talk to. There are so many definitions. The North Country Farmers Co-op is a food hub. What does that company do? It provides an online marketing platform for farmers. The farmers list their products, they set their prices, customers go in, place an order from whoever they want. At the end of the selling period, the co-op goes to all the farms, picks it up, and delivers it to the customers. That is considered a food hub as far as the government is concerned, the US government. There's Hardwick over in Vermont. Their food hub is entirely different. It has that aggregation distribution component. It also has food manufacturing. They do meat processing, they do vegetable processing, they do some sausage making. That's another type of food hub.
And the new,
So
not to
there's so
interrupt,
many
sorry.
different kinds.
There's a new business opening up in Conway, and I don't know the particulars of it, but they're doing a butcher shop / come by the store and pick up your dinner in a box. They have those online ones that you can mail food.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But what an amazing idea. We have all different kinds of stuff here. People come.
We have
they
a
get-
place right down the street that you can go in and buy the meal and take it home and put it in the
Yeah,
oven.
it's,
Meal kits.
I mean, you have the potential to grow, make, process, cook everything for a meal on this property, potentially. So, and would that be considered a food hub where you come and get your food for your meals, Sandy, or is that something different?
I think that's a little different, but I'm not
Same
sure.
lines.
It's similar.
But
But
there's so many avenues that we could go down through. So yeah, I mean, I don't know however you want to word it in the RFP to bring it back around. But yeah, do we keep it more general? So
Why wouldn't we want to explore as many as possible? Why would we?
well, if
want
we
to
keep
limit
it general, will they explore as many as possible?
I think
Or
they're
if
only
we
gonna-
specify?
I think, well, okay, I'm interested in doing the feasibility study, so I take a look at your proposal here. I would want, if it's going to be general, as just suggesting as one option, Dale, I would want to sit down, I would want to know, okay, what is it you want me to really focus on here? I mean, do you want me just to concentrate on one or two things? Or do you really want me to be as broad as possible to explore all options? Would we, as a committee, want to close off options that may have great potential possibilities?
Of course not. So do we list every possible scenario we can come up with through our listening sessions and our own minds and taxpayer input? And then give that list to the person?
We might. You laid out your definition of a food hub. Amanda did, and Sandy did. We come up with 3 definitions.
Sure.
So if you say in there, okay, we want you to explore a food hub, I may come back and say, okay, you've given me 3 definitions. Which one do you want me to explore? Do you want me to explore all of them? There is some redundancy, there's some overlapping.
Well, mine would be last because it's ladies before gentlemen. So they get theirs first, and then I would be in third.
But you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
Is, we want to, I would just hate to see us close out an opportunity to our own ignorance, not being aware of something that someone may say, but of all of them, this one has the greatest potential.
Well, if I could.
Yeah.
I think it's best to throw 3 visions out there and let them, that's what they do. They'll see if it works or doesn't work. or
Exactly.
Maybe they know a
Yeah.
4th that works
Yeah.
that pulls all 3 together.
But you brought up, I think, a good point, Dale, and that is that, we've got a commercial kitchen, a potential commercial kitchen. What role could that play in this whole thing? Because with the commercial kitchen, you're now getting into value added. You're now sticking with your blueberry theme. I mean, you've outlined it, it's not just picking blueberries and selling blueberries by the pint. Now you're talking about jams, you're talking about another whole field of blueberries that they value add. What I did the other day, and I was going to send it along, and I said, well, I won't right now. But
You have been busy on the email.
Enough.
But what I did is, the USDA did a study, as they're always doing studies, and what they did is that they had a picture of the food dollar. And who gets the food dollar? It's not the farmer who gets the food dollar. As Sandy said, it's all these middle people, all these hands that food from farm to plate goes through. And as I looked at that and began to factor all these things in, a food hub that was centered here on the county lands, that included a commercial kitchen, that included a lot of other components, the selling and distribution, that farmer, depending on the makeup of that farmer, instead of getting the 11 or 12 cents per food dollar, now all of a sudden, by bringing in-house all of those other steps, the farmer is now getting 75 or 76 cents of that food dollar, depending on how it's structured, according to the USDA.
Especially if the farmer is part of the ownership.
Exactly. The farmer has to own, either through a cooperative or a business venture, has to own all of those steps. But they incorporate the profit of every one of those steps.
Yeah. I do know that the
A
co-op
definition of a food hub. that's
that I
what we're
work with, it's legally it's a co-op, farmers cooperative.
Yep.
Excuse me, I have to leave, I'm sorry.
Okay. Amanda, have a nice weekend.
On average, the farms receive 75, well, if you count the meat in, closer to 80% of the cents, 80 cents on the dollar.
Who gets 80 cents?
The vendors, the farms.
Yes. The farmer only gets 11 or 12 cents on the dollar.
No. What
No,
I'm
the other way
saying,
around.
The co-op, this co-op that I'm working with, it's the other way around.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, because they're incorporating all of those steps in the co-op.
Yes and no. The only thing the co-op does is it facilitates the ordering. They do the pickup and the delivery. That's all they do. There's no manufacturing.
This is your co-op up there?
Yeah. Is it profitable? Barely.
Yeah.
Barely breaks even.
But what they're doing is they are incorporating into it, because you have somebody out there now that's doing the selling and the distribution. Those steps don't disappear just because the farmer is now doing them. They're
The
still
farmer is
there.
not doing it.
No,
But
but
yeah,
the
I
co-op
understand.
is.
Co-op
It's
is.
that big umbrella.
Right.
But this, from farm to plate, it goes through a lot of hands.
By the way, the newest thing is farm and plate.
Farm and plate.
Mhm.
Okay, what are they eliminated? Oh, how's that
It's
different?
happening there.
Hmm?
It's happening there, right? On your farm.
No, or many of the high-end, at least high-end restaurants are purchasing farms.
From the farm directly?
Oh, no, they're buying the farm and growing and raising the stuff they're
okay.
serving in their restaurant. It's
Oh.
one entity.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
So the restaurant is now the farmer as well?
Yeah, there's one restaurant in the northern edge of Mass. I forget what town it's in. And they were very adamant on using specific characteristics of meat, and they could not find enough, so they purchased a farm in New Hampshire. And there's one company out in Illinois, I think it is, or Indiana. They have 4 restaurants. It's one business, so they have 4 different restaurants
Mhm.
and one huge farm, about 20 or more acres that supplies them.
It supplies them everything, just like
Yeah.
meat,
No,
vegetables, everything?
everything, soup to nuts.
Okay, okay.
Nuts too, really?
Probably nuts too. And there's a couple in places like this in Maine. It's popping up everywhere. So it's farm and restaurant. So we just gotta get a good restaurant,
Yeah.
you know? Once they have a farmer.
Well, that may be the future, who knows? A chain of restaurants, or like the establishment there in the Mount Washington Valley, you know, local.
You need to take
We digress. Go ahead, yeah. Go ahead.
the problem is, like Sandy says, the reason why they buying these restaurants is so there's no middle person.
Yeah.
You need, as a farm, you need to sell directly to the person. I found out the hard way, and I still do it, you have to sometimes, wholesale is not where it's at. You need to be retail.
Mm-hmm.
Bring it back to here, you could do that with all the possible amenities. You can do retail through here with a variety of products, with a potential variety of product, variety of everything. And that's why you need to make everything centralized here. The commercial kitchen would open up double the avenues as, other than just having products to sell on a food hunt.
Mhm.
You could double that, potentially, with a commercial kitchen on site, on property, within rock throwing distance from where you're growing, producing, raising your stuff. As far as the RFP goes, should we be asking things to be studied on that we don't know if we have interest in or not? Should we put some feelers out there as far as interest and then ask the people doing the study to study these things? Or should we put it out there to study and then see if we have interest in the thing, whatever we study?
I want to repeat again in the context of where you're going with this, Dale. Rose Wilson was hired by a Concord Economic Development Group to do a feasibility study on a commercial kitchen for farmers. And she went out there to do this, and what she found in talking to farmers was there was no interest in the farm.
How many years ago was that study done?
Don't know.
It was probably about, it was within the last 5 years.
That there was
I
no-
know that.
So, in a way, to try to answer your question, if we do the study and then find out if there's any interest, or do we find out if there's any interest before we do the study? I don't know. But I would hate to just to spend money, and this is money for whoever is going to be doing to say, okay, this is going to work, and then you go out and you say to the farm
And you hear
community,
crickets.
you know, and they say, you know, that's great, but we don't have any interest in that.
Right.
Personally, I'd rather to get some sort of a polling system in place to find out if there's any interest. I would hate at the end of the day for this committee to spend good money to put together a study only to find in the farm community that, gee, that's great, but we don't see this working for us. You remember the day we had Julie Moran and Sandy come down, we had 6 farmers sitting around the table. And they said, that's great, but I don't see it's gonna help me at all.
Well, not all 6 said that.
No, you didn't, but you know what I'm saying.
I do.
One out of 6 said, yes, this can help me, but the other 5 said, I just don't see this helping me at this point in time. I'd hate to do a feasibility study and finally get the same response. We go forward.
Kind of exactly where I'm headed with that, and why, yeah, okay. So then, okay, here's my next question.
Continue, Jill, continue, go ahead.
What do we need to do to poll Carroll County to see what sort of, I'm just using the word off the old RFP.
Yep.
Food system they would be interested in as far as leasing, working, processing? How do we get that out there to see if there's any interest?
Okay, let me throw the question back at you.
I asked first.
Okay, but I'm gonna answer with a question.
Okay, great.
Have we had any discussion at all with the Carroll County Farm Bureau?
As far as this committee?
No, as far as some of the things, some of the direction that we're going in here, to get feedback from them. At the last meeting, you had mentioned that you had attended a meeting with a new group here in the county
Yeah.
of farmers.
Yeah.
Should we be, I don't know how many are in that, it's a new group.
Without question, we should be, Sandy, we should be reaching out to these organizations.
Exactly.
Without question.
They will tell us, they will frame the issue. If talking to them, and they say, at this point in time, I don't have any interest at all in becoming part of a commercial kitchen, then why would we study it?
Not the answer you would get, but yeah. I just, Sandy's opened my eyes up to a whole new world as far as local, sustainable farming.
Yeah.
The people that are getting involved are younger even than of me, never mind you guys. And they're like like me and like Sandy, they're still on the edge of their seats. They want this
Yep.
to work.
Yes.
Are you talking about MW Veg?
I'm talking about all the little MW Veg is one of them.
Okay.
And the beginner farmers and all these people, the groundswell, is that the right term I need to, for an excitement as far as local, sustainable. If you opened up this to say, what do you guys want to do here? Give me this RFP, this is what we're gonna do, these are your options, how do you make this work? I think you would have a lot of interest and input and potentially people wanting to get involved. Whether it's on the leasing end, the running end, there's so many different avenues to go through.
All right.
Go ahead,
Oh,
Sandy.
here, she's gonna put me in my place.
No, she's not.
It's
No,
coming.
no.
I'm not. Maybe I've been sort of wool gathering over here.
Yeah, you haven't even been paying attention to me talking.
That's right.
It's all right. I'm used to it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sandy.
But,
I only do that twice a year.
I thought we were supposed to be, we're trying to write an RFP that once, I'm going to be, assume the positive here,
Okay.
that once we receive the grant funding,
Yep.
we're going to be sending out this request to do a feasibility study for production agriculture on this land
Yep.
and/or agricultural education. Are those the two areas that we,
That's correct.
yeah, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I just.
But my question
We
was,
were just getting so far afield, it was like.
well, here's my
okay.
question. My question was, do we try to get to see if there's interest in the community for topics before we put them to the RFP, so we can put those in the RFP to study? Or do we put things in the study, and if they become affirmative, then try to see if there's any interest in the public? That was my question.
I'm
So
sorry.
it was related.
Okay, but when we held the listening sessions last fall,
Yep.
they were wide open to the public, anybody could come if they wanted to. And we kept getting indications from JQ that they were interested in production agriculture, and that they were interested in some agricultural education facilities. Did I miss something?
No, but they were interested in having them here. But
Right.
were they interested in becoming were they ready to write RFP to the commissioners,
No, not right, I mean reply to one.
reply to an RFP from the commissioners, sorry, to open up something here on the county lands?
You're right, I don't know that answer.
So my thought would be, instead of writing out an RFP to all these things that people gave us, which are valid and all
Mhm.
good and appropriate and potentially amazing, do we try to get some interest from potential people that are willing to reply to an RFP?
Well,
And then if they're willing to reply, then study it to see if it would work.
Well, time out. The people that are gonna be replying would be a consultant whose expertise is in doing this kind of study.
No, what I'm talking about is, let's say we want to do someone wants to come in and grow, help me out here, something.
All right?
And they want to lease a piece of land. So they're going to reply to an RFP and they want to become part of a food hub.
So you're saying, but what we're talking about right now is putting together an RFP to do the feasibility study.
But what are we gonna study? That's the basic
Well, that's
question.
it. And I think you're one step beyond that.
No,
No,
what I'm
I
trying
don't
to-
think Dill is. I don't
what
think
I'm-
he's one step beyond it at
I'm
all.
one step behind, if anything,
No.
Sandy, but
Let me jump in here. On the feasibility study, the request for proposal,
Yep.
Mark, you correct me if I'm wrong, the county is not going to get back into the farming business.
Correct.
We're not going to take a look at 50, 60 acres here in cattle and pigs and garden. That's not going to happen. So if the farm is to have a role, if the county then is to have a role, it's got to be in partnering with the farming community in Carroll County. So I think it's important when we put together this RFP that we determine if we need partners. This is not going to happen. If the county cannot find that there's partners out there to make this thing work, it's not going to happen. And so I think what we've got to determine, going to this new group, the Farm Bureau and others, talking to the farm community in Carroll County, is there an interest? Is there an interest in partnering with the county? And we've talked about partnering, public-private partnership, to make this thing work. What the county is putting on the table is we have assets here. Whether it's land that can be put into production, whether it's an agricultural learning center, educational center, whether it's a potential commercial kitchen, there are assets that the county has to put on the table. Now, and I'm making up a number, among the 200 farmers in Carroll County, is there any interest in partnering with the county to make this thing happen, to create Carroll County more food sustainable? And if they say, gee, we appreciate your effort, but no, there isn't, then I think it's time. What are we studying then? What are we studying?
I thought that's what the consultant was going to find out.
But we've
is
got-
if there are any people interested in doing these things.
And maybe that's the first step. Is to poll these farm groups and to see, okay, this is what this committee, which has been charged by the commissioners and the delegation to explore a potential future use for the county lands. And one of the things we're studying, as you say, is agricultural production in an agricultural learning center. Is there any interest? And if they say, yes, we'd like you to study this, we'd like you to study that, then we know. As I say, I just am uncomfortable with us, this committee, determining on our own, without any sort of polling, what we want to study. Because people may say, well, that's great, but you didn't study this, and we wanted an answer to that, you didn't study this. We have never, and even the first committee, we never connected with the farm community here. We never did.
we can have a feasibility study say that this would work. X could work. That could happen. But then when we turn around and say, hello, everybody, we just did this feasibility study and this could work, but no one wants to do it.
Mhm.
So we've just wasted time, effort, money.
Okay, so now, if you're gonna do the survey, right, so you're suggesting that we go out somehow, and some bodies, go out and survey various farmers or farming groups in the county or the surroundings to find out if they are what?
If anyone in their group or the group as a whole would be interested in one of a food hub, system hub, whatever definition we want to throw on, it doesn't matter
Take that
to
away.
me.
Take that word away. I would not use that.
What
I
were
would
we
use in
using?
doing some form of production agriculture or agricultural education.
Right, yeah.
Don't,
Well, I
don't
think-
use food hub. It's very misleading in this regard.
I think you're right. I think the agricultural production ag
Yeah.
would be the avenue to go through.
All right, so you're gonna ask people that, right? if they're interested in doing
You're
it.
using you as a general term,
I'm
right?
using, yes,
Okay,
I'm
good.
using you.
I know it's
being-
gonna be me, but okay. Yes.
We usually go to Sandy first. We throw everything on her shoulder.
Good, perfect.
So we're gonna find that out.
Right.
Well, in that case, then why do we do a feasibility study?
Because if someone says yes,
Yeah?
then we do a feasibility study
Yeah?
and we say, we like your fire and wanting to do this. We've just spent 20 grand on this feasibility study to show you how to do it.
Time out.
Or a potential way to tell you how to do
Time
it.
out. If somebody's really interested, then they're supposed to be doing the business plan.
Right?
Why should we
Okay.
be doing
Through
it?
that-
We're getting back to my
through that-
original
through
question
that
when I
one
said
back that
before we
you
did this feasibility study, why are we doing a feasibility
But
study?
why wouldn't part of the feasibility study be that they are to work with all these groups and to poll these groups and show the potential of what's here and is there interest there?
That's what I think we should have this consultant do. You know, and it's like if Rose goes out and she finds, like she did with the farmers over in Belknap, I think, or wherever it was.
It was Bosquen, I think, but anyway, yeah.
Found out that there was no
There was
interest.
no interest.
In a commercial kitchen for shared
Yes.
use
Yes,
kitchen.
yeah.
If that's the first step, then we don't have to proceed with a second task.
Well, okay, and why do you say that? I mean, that's just one
I got
element
nothing.
that we've said that there's
That
no
was
interest in,
reaction.
but there may be other components and elements. Go ahead.
When Rose
Yeah.
was doing that
Yeah,
study,
yeah,
because that's what she does, is these markets, these studies.
yeah, yeah.
She went out and she interviewed a bunch of farmers to find out if there was an interest in it.
Yes,
When she found out there was no interest, then she stopped finding out what the cost was going to be,
exactly.
you know? So
Yes.
she just stopped work.
Yeah, the story that I was told.
Yeah.
That she just went back into this group that had hired her and says, here's your money back. You know, you're wasting the money, there's no interest in this particular component or segment at all. But-
So, in this, you know, when you set up the RFP to go to the consultant,
Yeah,
to look for a consultant, you put together your tasks, or, you know, your various things that you want them to do.
yes,
And you structure it in such a way that they do the first one, then they make a decision whether you proceed or not. The first step could be to find out if there is in fact any interest among the farming community.
I think let's just ask the basic question here now. Let's get right out of the gate. Based on the information that we have and the comments that people have made, if the farm community in Carroll County has no interest in this, no interest in partnering with the county lands for agricultural goals, what's the future?
Then what, right?
That, to me, that's the basic question. And personally, being a fiscal conservative, I wouldn't want to spend a nickel out there assuming that if we build it, they will come. Because that's an assumption I'm not willing to buy into. We are willing to spend money. We are willing to make a commitment on this thing to create a vibrant, sustainable agricultural community in Carroll County. But without the most important component of all, the farm community, it's not going anywhere at all. And I think that's the first question we've got to ask. Is there interest and support? No, I'm not saying that we've got to go out there and specifically say to the farm community, we're going to do this, are you interested? Because they, like the commercial kitchen, they may say, no, I'm not interested in that. But what they may say, Sandy, and something that you've been very successful in up there in the North Country, that yes, if someone wants to come by a couple times a week and pick up the produce that I had grown, and they're going to go out there and sell it for me, I'd be very interested in exploring that.
Maybe.
Maybe. So there are things, getting back to what I think Dale was saying earlier, how broad or narrow do you want this thing to be? But I want to find out if there's interest.
But the question becomes,
Yep.
who's going to do that survey? Are you going to do it, Steve?
No, I'm not going to do
Are you
this.
going
I
to
don't
do it,
feel.
Mark? Are
Well,
you
you already
gonna
know
do it?
that
comes.
answer. Yeah.
I'm not, I don't have time.
But I would think, and let's go back to Sandy's point, in that you do step A. Step A either ends it or we go to B.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
You don't need a $20,000 study. You need to be working with a consultant that understands it's going to be based on A, B, C, and D. And so if they get to A, and so part of their thing is they're also gonna have to go out and sell it, they're gonna have to talk to the people. That's what they do professionally.
Yeah.
But if that leads nowhere, then there's not a $20,000 prize tag here either.
Well, they gotta-
You
they get paid some.
Right.
Yeah, oh, they certainly do.
There's no step
But
two.
but maybe they're a quarter, you know, because
Yeah.
they also haven't put all their time into it, but they have put a large amount of time into it, so. A phased approach, you know, with results. So then, as Dale's saying, if nobody wants to do that,
Then we stop.
And we stop right there.
But at that point, Steve's question comes in. Let's do the what ifs.
Okay.
What if there is no one in the farming community is interested in use of the land?
Yeah.
Right, we've got the two parts of this question, but the second part was on the agricultural learning for public and,
Yeah.
farming. But let's ignore that for the moment. None of the farmers are interested in using this land for whatever purpose.
Okay.
Now what?
Then we focus on the learning end of it and see,
Or maybe you do that anyhow,
right, but
keep them going in parallel.
I think that's what we would do. We would focus on, put all of our egg, we'd have to move the eggs from the field to the classroom
Yep.
and see if that would fly.
Well, I think you'd probably.
That's worst case scenario, though.
But you might
Let's
want to
be
run
positive.
those two down a parallel path.
You might have people that aren't willing to work with the county as far as using the land, but you might have people that are willing to come to the land to learn about
Yeah, yeah.
using their own
and then
land.
develop a plot.
Right.
Sure,
Yep.
sure.
So there are some similarities, but they're
Mhm.
different avenues, kind of.
They are different avenues, but I'm saying, I don't think you want to do just first one and then strictly following the other, but maybe try and do both of them, find out if there's that interest level.
Two different tracks here.
Yeah, 2 tracks.
Separating the agricultural production distribution and the agricultural learning
Or
center.
production ag from one, from the ag.
And a learning,
education,
yeah, okay, all right.
Um,
Good, Cindy. I got a question.
But
for you.
now, let's take the production ag leg.
Yeah.
Nobody's interested. What do we do with that land? That's the question you were asking.
Well, again, I don't think all doors are closed. You still have the opportunity to, as far as the hayfields go, lease those out. You still have the
Yeah.
potential to lease out the
Sugar
maple
maple,
trees for
yeah,
maple
that's
syrup.
right.
You still
Okay.
have,
Yeah.
there's,
And then if those are successful models, what's it gonna take to open up twice as much land for that purpose?
right, and we're,
That's right.
Good, good.
this is
So
always,
we're at least thinking about it.
Yeah.
it's
no.
always gonna be evolving.
No, there's always gonna be a plan B.
We have a piece of paper out there that's 894 acres plus or minus.
Yep,
With nothing on it.
yep.
And we can, if we try something and it doesn't work, we can erase it and try something else. I mean, not many people have that asset to offer, and we have it, potentially. Love that word now. So, yeah, I mean,
I wanna
if something
ask-
doesn't work, I don't want to cry in my pillow, I want to try something else.
I want to ask.
We'll find it
Yeah.
eventually.
I want to ask you a question. You had made a passing reference to this new group, that meeting you attended.
Yep.
And the energy and so forth.
Yep.
And I realize this is just the first meeting. But were you able to discern any interest at all among the people that they were interested in growing their farming operation? Perhaps looking to the county lands as a partner in this? What was, when you
I was
left
a
this, what-
spectator, so I didn't do much talking about our lands advisory committee.
Okay,
Listening to what people, like the woman who supplied the dinner, who's said, if you could do a localized
Oh, yeah,
place
yeah.
to pick up all my stuff, because she has to go from farm to farm to farm to get all their stuff,
yeah,
because she likes to support local, that's what she does. Everything
Yeah.
is local, everything
Yeah.
is sustainable, everything is
It's
good
a food
food.
truck.
It's a, yeah, she's a food truck. And she like threw up her hand and said, if you could make a central location
Yeah.
to pick up all my stuff, it would be a godsend.
For her, it would.
And
Okay, so in the narrow sense of a food hub, that's farmers would bring it in and she'd pick it up.
Or, yeah, it depends
So,
on how.
so,
it
so she's
depends on the
eliminated,
model.
so she's eliminated 6 or 7 stops along the way.
Yes.
Now she,
X stops, yeah,
it's a one
exactly.
stop, it's a one stop. I
Right.
get on it and I get everything I need. Okay.
yeah, but we have to get to these people to tell them the potential
Okay.
opportunity here.
Okay, see, but that raises another question, okay? Because to me, and I don't want to assume anything, but this is not a person, she's a buyer. She's a
Yeah.
buyer of food. She's not the grower of the food, she's the buyer of the food. How many buyers are there out there? How many people are there like this woman who basically say, you know, my business could grow tremendously if I could spend more time in the kitchen and not out there in my pickup truck throwing around 7 or 8 stops to pick up the food?
It's not so much the current buyers,
Yeah?
it's the potential buyers.
So the potential buyer said if there was a one-stop shop, then this is something I'd more seriously consider. Now that's okay, what's the potential? Who's the potential buyer then?
How far is this land off of Route 16?
Mile and a half?
Okay. How many people travel Route 16 from down south to up north every weekend, all summer long?
Thousands and thousands and thousands.
Let's say they're going to their second home, whether it's in Conway,
Yeah.
wherever it
Yeah.
is, north
They're
of
not
here.
that far from Winnipesaukee either,
North,
which has also
okay,
a lot of
but
second
north
homes.
from here.
Okay, no,
They stop somewhere on a Friday night.
yeah,
They have someplace where they can come get people that have second homes thrive on local, sustainable.
okay.
They love it.
And you know that for a fact?
Fact.
Okay,
If you gave them a central place where they could say, oh, these tomatoes are awesome. Well, yeah, they were grown right there. You could see them, or whatever it is,
yeah,
that would A, help your farmer out because now you're selling retail.
yep,
B, it would be a central location.
yep,
C, you have all that influx of traffic every weekend, all summer long.
yep.
And every week all summer long. Plus weekends in the winter, you're always gonna have traffic. So if it's done properly, do I think it could work? 1,000%. But you have to, we need to, someone needs to do a feasibility study, yes. Do I think it's us? Maybe. But we need to find interest and on this end, the grower and the producer of X, whatever it may be, to see if they're willing to work with us. And then I mean, where do we need to be in order to say, yes, this is what we're gonna study? That's where I'm sort of still in the processing stage of my grand idea.
Okay.
But, yeah, we need to find interest first on our end. And then,
When you say interest first, you're talking about the farm community.
right, I mean,
Okay, all right.
you have,
Yeah,
there are farm stands, I call them farm stands, but they're big, huge farms that produce many different things that sell them out of on their
Store.
own property.
The
And-
farm store?
Right, exactly. They're basically what they are. And at that MW Veg, we had 2 of the local farms that do that sort of thing. Who's to say one, if not both, or other farms might not want to do a second operation up here?
they might.
We have to get out to these people to see what we can do and where we can go.
Yeah. The,
How does that potential model affect the Tamworth market, the farm market they do on weekends?
Well, a number of years ago, I did a little study purely for my own interest. well, farmers markets throughout the state. And I found out, we're looking at what day of the week and what time of day they were holding their markets. Because I was working with a group, we were trying to see about having one on a Friday. Guess what? There are almost none on Fridays. And you want to know why? Because when people are traveling to their second home or to their motel or whatever, they're too tired. They're going to go out on Saturday.
To do their food shopping.
Yeah.
Or they're gonna go out to eat out.
Or they're going to go out to eat on Friday night.
Yeah.
Dale, I agree with you that if it was you and me, we'd probably stop because we want the freshest stuff. But people coming from the city, not so much.
I want to just put something else on the table here. As I said, last week or two, knowing we're going to be discussing this, I dug deeper, and I don't know if I sent it to the committee or not, but I found it's a fascinating study put out by the, I don't know if it was USDA, but doing some more calculations, I feel strongly, much more strongly than I did before, that the Carroll County food budget, that's the people who live here, the second home, we may be looking at close to $300 million a year in food.
It's pretty big.
It's big, it is huge. And so, okay, let's just say, and I can find the data to back that up, but this isn't more back of the envelope.
Steve, does this include, that's all food dollars spent in the county?
Yes.
Every-
Yes, most of it goes out, most of it leaves the county, but yes.
Oh, okay, but that's the money that is spent in the county.
Yes.
It is not just residents.
Correct.
It includes the visitors.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, right, it's everybody. It includes that second homeowner and the fact that both the Mount Washington Valley and the Wolfboro area are major destination
Yeah.
resort areas.
Yeah.
I factored that in as well. So, okay, let's just say for the sake of discussion here, that the local, and by local, I mean the county farm community, is able to grab just 10% of that. That's $30 million a year
Right.
that's staying in the county. I'm not talking
That
40,
could.
50%, I'm talking 10%. One out of every $10 is being spent locally. That's, if you're talking just a couple hundred farmers. But the thing is, and what I did in this thing that I didn't send out is, most of the farmers, and Dale, I think you're typical. You are basically, you've got your farm there, you've got your barn and so forth, and you're selling to other farm stands and so forth. But one of the things that is difficult for you to do is you cannot tap into the major food distribution center here. The reality of it is you and other farmers who are working hard, working 24/7, you're basically on the fringe. And there are a lot of reasons why it's difficult for you to do that. But getting back to the word food hub, which has many different definitions, how do we, say there's interest here, how do we take the Dale Drews of the world and basically help them and get them into that major food distribution system so they've got a shot at tapping that $300 million a year food market? That to me is the secret.
Yeah. I think it's tough.
It is tough.
Yeah.
And it could very well be at the end of the day we can't do it. But that to me is the secret.
You want my answer to that question?
Yes, you're doing it. You tell me, you talk to me.
You bypass the large
Mhm.
grocery stores
Yep.
and large markets and do it yourself.
Okay.
That's what you do.
Actually, what the North Country Farmers Co-op does, it's not wholesale.
No, I know.
Because the farms are not being paid wholesale rates.
Yep.
They're being paid something just less than retail. So you find that sweet spot in the middle. It's between wholesale and retail.
What's that sweet spot?
When you can find them, it is the local retailers that are interested in, and/or restaurateurs,
Yep.
the eateries, that are interested in and able to support and pay the higher prices for the local product. You know, it's not gonna be to the Applebee's or the,
Yeah, other chains.
or the
It's
chain.
gonna be independently owned
It's gonna look to the
restaurants
Valley
and
Original.
food
Exactly.
stores.
And it depends a great deal on who their customers are,
Yeah.
who their customers
Yeah.
are.
My question, and I think the two of you are perfect, this.
Mark has trees.
I got a whole new Save Our Berry project right there. So
Well, that's good,
we
that's
go.
good, you're getting something here. The, and that is, to get from farm to plate, whether the plate is a restaurant, whether the plate is an institution,
Or whether it's
Well, the
a
plate is
homeowner's
your
table.
dining room table
or
in your
the
house.
plate is the dining room.
That's
table.
where it needs to be.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
But the thing is, and I say in the two of you, how do we enhance that to make that easy for that to happen? What sort of a marketing, a distribution system do you need that basically encourages you to grow more, to put more acreage into production, where you are not out there all of a sudden knocking on the doors of the restaurants? I mean, that to me is one of the keys here. And again, I don't want to assume anything, but if the farm community, whether it's this group that you've just joined, if someone came to them and said, look, I can buy $150,000 worth of food product every year from you, say from June through October, are you interested?
Dale?
Oh, that was a direct question at me?
Would
Am
you
I
be-
a
would-
solo here, or am I with a group?
Whatever.
Yeah, you talk to me.
150,000 and what?
Whatever your product.
You can't whatever that though, Sandy. Because if I'm me, and we're talking real time, me.
Yeah.
150,000 and what?
Taters.
What?
It's
Taters.
Taters? No, I'm not
It's
doing it.
vegetables, it's eggs, it may be meat.
Egg, let's say it's eggs and meat for you. Eggs and chicken
Okay, let's do it.
and turkeys.
What is my next step?
Yeah.
My next step would be to find X amount of farmers to see if they were able to do that, go into it with me,
Okay,
to be able to supply that demand.
okay. So we're getting back to farmer
Was I
interest.
right? Was that a right answer?
Yes.
Well, that's,
Yes.
there's
So-
no right answer.
No, but
That is a
we're
good
getting
answer.
back then to the farmer interest.
Can I, when we had that conversation a year and a half ago, things have evolved since then. Maybe not with those 6 people in that room,
Yeah,
but how many people were at that MW Veg dinner the other
We had
night?
about 60.
60 people.
This was throughout the
And that's
county?
that's, what was it, 60-40 growers, eaters?
Yeah, about.
So 60 growers. 60
No, it was what, 60-40%.
Yeah, but 60% growers, 40% eaters.
Yeah, but there's also about 60 people.
Right. So,
okay.
and that was a very
First-
new fledgling, younger group.
Yeah.
So if you needed X hundred of dozen eggs, maybe I would think in the year and a half since we've had our conversation
Yeah.
about that, we would have a better chance of finding that now than we did
Okay,
even a
all
year
right.
and a half ago.
And that's a key,
It's huge.
that's an important statement that you just made, in the
Of
fact
course
that.
it is, I made it. Sorry. But yeah, I mean,
That it is an evolving, changing landscape.
cooperative is it's a cooperative.
Yeah.
Cooperatives are springing up everywhere.
Okay,
And it started in the distributing of said product,
mhm.
but it's starting to come around to the production of said product as well.
Ocean
I think.
Spray. Ever hear of Ocean Spray?
Who?
Ocean Spray?
That's how they started.
They are a cooperative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cabot?
Cabot Cheese is
Yeah,
a
same
cooperative.
thing.
Land O'Lakes is a cooperative.
Right, I know. I mean, the the landscape is changing, going back in time with a bunch of people working together to succeed, have a better chance
Okay.
at succeeding at a goal.
Okay, so what you're saying then, and Sandy seems to be kind of nodding her head, that in this newer environment, with the new people getting involved, that the idea of working together, maybe through a co-op, is now on the table for discussion, whereas maybe a few years back it wasn't?
I think it might have been on there to begin with. There might be some concern, not about co-ops themselves, but a lot of people seem to agree that there is a need for an aggregation distribution type facility or service.
Mm-hmm.
The question often comes down to who's controlling it?
They are.
And I'm just saying, these are the questions.
Yep.
And what is the percentage that the producer is receiving? You know, is it 50 cents on the dollar? Is it 80? Is it 20 or 10?
Let me ask you a question.
And by producer, I
If-
mean the grower or the
Okay,
farmer.
okay, say that the and I'm just making up numbers here,
Mhm.
but the question, say that by farmers forming a co-op
Mhm.
and therefore being able to produce collectively greater volume, they can double over the next couple of years, they can double or triple their sales because now you've got a marketing network. So maybe they're not getting the 90, 100% the afternoon little farm stand, they're only getting 60 or 70%, but their volume is increased by 3 or 4-fold. Does that change that dynamics at all?
Right, now, see, this is something that the individual farm
Right.
has to determine.
Yeah.
And one of the things that is interesting, and I don't have any hard facts, but I have read a number of studies that stated that many farms do in fact not know their cost of production.
I can believe that. I can believe that.
So, they may say that, yeah, they could take a 60 or 40% drop in price by selling at volume, you know, higher volume so they'll sell it wholesale. But maybe they can't. If they don't know their cost of production, then how do they know what their lowest price they can accept?
But in the scenario that I put out, I never said they'd have to take a lower price. I'm going on the basis they could get retail. But the question you asked is how much of that retail are they gonna get now?
Well, the thing is that who pays for the service?
Well, there's overhead. They're still getting their but their costs have gone up, there's no doubt about it, because now there's an administrative cost that was not there before.
Correct. So, and if you look at it, there is a ceiling that your customers are willing to pay,
Yeah.
no matter how good it is.
Yeah.
But I will say that the ceiling is higher when you have quality product.
Yes, it may be true, but there is still a ceiling.
No.
You're right, but
Yeah.
You're right.
This is
So
gonna be
we're not
very
gonna,
interesting.
we're not gonna solve the economics of it right now.
No, we're not.
But-
But what we're getting into, I think, is the basic question is, what are the questions that we want to pose to a farm group? And what are the answers that we'd expect them to go in and say, are you interested in this? I'm sitting there thinking, well, what is the benefit to me of this? How do I gain from this if all of a sudden I'm willing to join with 5 other farmers in the room here, or 10 other farmers, to basically to grab onto a bigger market? I mean, those are good questions. It's easy to go out and say, is there any interest? But that's, okay, what are we talking about here?
you gotta have, where's the rubber meeting the road?
Exactly.
You have to,
Exactly.
everyone's gonna say, oh, it's a great idea.
Yeah,
listening sessions.
Yeah.
Great idea. But, okay, are you gonna do it?
Am I gonna
Could
do
you-
it?
Not you.
Yeah.
Potentially, you ask these people, is this something you,
Well, let's get back, you know, we talked about, Mark, to me, Mark, we've talked about as the farmer interest. And I think, from my perspective, Mark outlined it clearly. Okay, but the request for proposal. What do we want to do? Step one, the first phase is to go out there and to poll the farm community and to see if there's any interest. And if the person who's doing this says, gee, you know, I handed out flyers and pamphlets, I answered all their questions, but there's no interest, then we don't go to phase two. We stop right there.
Right, we go to
But if that
1A.
person comes back and says, yes, there is real interest here, then okay, what's the next step? Where do we go from here then? So there could be, and I think the RFP kind of outlines this, there could be 4 or 5 or 6 various phases or steps, depending on the word you want to use. But that first one is important, is okay, what is the interest out there? So, and I think, based on the comments, there is some consensus on that maybe that first step is in the RFP, is to survey and poll the farm community whether there's any interest. And then the next one would be, okay, step 2, yes, there is interest. Then maybe the next step would be, okay, what is it you want? What do you need to help you sell your product? What are the next steps in this thing that you need to make this thing work? Mark, you being close to, you had said you had some comments you wanted to make and add to this thing, and you've been writing down there furiously. Is there anything you want to put on the table?
No, I have more thought on the blueberries, that's it, when we get done with this.
Okay. Okay, so we at step 1.
well, I think so,
All right.
I think. But we're gonna need to go, it's gonna be like a chain of command thing. We're gonna be out at step 1. If step 1 happens in the affirmative, we need to go down this path.
Then we need to-
If
exactly,
step
yes.
1 doesn't happen, then we need to go down this path.
We need a plan B.
Or 1A.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, what we've talked about here for the last year is basically a.
We've been doing this a year.
Oh, anyway.
Holy
feels that
crackers,
way.
Batman.
So, the thing is, if there is not a farm community here that is willing to explore partnering with the county on the use of the lands, then, okay, then there's gonna be another plan or another use for those lands. And as you've said, we may be able to come up with a lot of other uses. And that may be part of the feasibility study as well. Okay, that didn't work, so what are other uses? So, anyway, it's after 5, if,
All right, I need to make, is there any way that we can change the day of the week that we meet?
okay, what do you have in mind?
Well, starting on May 12th, and
Yeah.
every single week
Yeah,
from then until early July. Fridays for me will begin at 8 a.m. on Thursday and end at about 4 p.m. on Saturday.
That's a long Friday.
yeah, that
Yeah,
is
it
a lot,
is.
right? I thought there were only 7 days of the week, but now you're saying that there's
Not
less.
for farmers.
Okay,
That's because,
so we'll say Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday?
yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
because.
I've got no
I've
problem with that at all. I got no, what about?
For me, farmer's
Dale,
market
Mark, what-
is Friday, Saturday, and it takes me 2 days to get ready.
Let me ask another question. Does meeting in the morning pose a problem for people?
Coming up for this time of year, it's probably gonna get hot in the afternoon, so it'd be nicer to be inside.
Well, me in the
That's
morning,
just me.
yeah.
It's a great plan. I wasn't thinking that far ahead, but yeah.
Let's start with, does Monday work?
Okay, does Monday
Because
work?
I'm not gonna,
You
but
have to
I
listen.
could go, no, I could go by teleconference, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
You know, I could have-
Oh, it's so much better with you here.
Yeah, so, but
Yeah.
my days are Monday or Friday.
Okay.
Monday works for me.
Okay, what about Monday morning at 10 o'clock?
Well, they told you they want to be outside doing things at 10.
Yeah.
Cooler,
I'd rather meet in the afternoon when it's hot.
yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to do it early in the afternoon, like 2?
2 o'clock?
2 would be actually not bad, that's about the
Okay.
hottest part of the day.
Monday at 2 o'clock, 2 to 4.
When are we starting that next week?
Well, we're meeting every other week.
Oh, yeah. but-
Oh, I can't on the,
God.
oh, yes, I can on the 30th.
Okay, Monday at 2 o'clock.
All right, thank you so much.
No problem.
Anything for you.
You're sweet.
Try.
Okay, and see, today, that's the 27th. The next meeting is the 27th?
So it'd be the 30th, which would be the following Monday?
That's right. Would
Yeah.
be the 30th, yeah. I'm stuck, the Friday, the 30th, okay.
It's like a 3-day vacation for us.
Whoa, boy, I
Yay,
tell you,
wow.
On top of it.
we're gonna have to retrain you.
Uh,
Okay.
So if we think about the scope of work for this RFP,
Yep,
task one is going to be a survey of interest in production ag or
yep,
agricultural learning, and then, so the deliverable one would be the report of the survey results.
yes,
Okay, thank you. So that's how we can structure the thing.
yes. What do we call it, step one or phase one, whatever.
And those are deliverables?
Yes, but that's the first thing we'd want to know is if there's interest.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Is there a motion to adjourn? Yes.
No.
Oh, you,
Yeah.
is there a second?
Oh, yes.
All right, all those in favor?
Yes.
All right,
Okay, now, from the ag people, I have a question.
okay.
So, if someone was caring for the blueberry field we have, how many people would it take to care for that on a weekly basis? I know when you get into production, you're gonna need more people and more time. Is that plot too big if we don't get interest in, from a producer, a farmer? Is that plot too big for a 4-H group or somebody to take
That's
up?
kind of where I was headed. You have Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, 4-H groups. I would hope they're all invited to reply to the RFP.
Well, if they do
I'm gonna
or
say-
You mean to the list that the commissioners have sent out?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
I would hope that they would, I mean,
I don't know. You said, I read a number somewhere, it was around 1,100 plants.
Yeah,
How, we
Well,
don't know
it-
how far apart they are.
It's one field.
yeah, they're about an acre, so they're pretty close together.
Yeah.
Well, my point is that if we don't get someone to take it over right, and then perhaps we help work with pulling the group together,
We as in,
this group.
Committee.
okay.
This group. And we have the Blueberry Restoration Project, and we get a group of youth involved, and 4-H is helping, and we get the co-op to come in and help with a little of this. We partner with someone like Paris Farm or Tractor Supply, because I gotta believe you need a certain amount of fertilizer, lime, chemicals, something. And we get the community involved, we get it more high profile to at least restore us back to, a production. And then that's that educational component. But we get somebody to come in as a group to do that.
Could that be used as a fundraiser for the Boy Scouts or the
Well, I
4-H?
think, I'm hoping we can get somebody
The
else.
answer to your question is yes, I think.
Not the younger ones, obviously, but the middle-aged, the teens.
But I don't know, you
Yeah.
guys deal
Yeah,
with
you're
this
not gonna
stuff.
get 5 and 6-year-olds out
No,
there.
no,
but-
no, no.
Yeah,
I
you're-
suspect that it would be a first good step for a group, maybe.
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe that group of people, maybe they can pull a group of people together and do it too. I don't know, but we should reach out. But
Mhm.
it's gonna fall short if you leave this here. The project's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I tend to.
Yes.
So I'm just saying that it could show a real positive.
Mhm.
Well, I agree. I don't think, it needs to be set up for success and not the alternative. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, and even if we got it back into production,
Mhm.
now it's mowed and it's mulched and it's all those
Fertilized
things.
and pruned.
Fertilize,
Yeah.
that has to be done.
Pruned.
And we look at it as a 2-year thing because we're starting late this year to get there.
Yeah.
But I think then it would show interest
Yeah.
in the community. I'm hoping we don't have to do that, but I'm just saying, I think we should think about that. as a
Back up.
To be honest with you, I think that's a better alternative anyway than out of the gate trying to this one, because you're gonna gain support, you're gonna get more people here on the farm, you're gonna help an organization or organizations out. What better use of land is there than that? None in my book. So, yeah,
And the other thing is, I think we should all reach out to all those groups.
Yeah.
And so we know that there's an email blast that this is available, so because just putting it on the website and interest in the paper,
right.
there's
I
a whole
agree.
segment that just doesn't pick up those.
Yep.
So we're gonna have to help them make it successful.
And if they did read that, would they think they were involved, or could be involved?
One of my problems is that trying to get something put into the sun, if you don't pay them for it, good luck with getting it in there.
Or you'd have to have an article done. You'd have to-
Yeah, but in the instances, if we don't get a farmer to take this over, a producer or something,
Yeah.
the Madison PTA gals or someone, then we can get Damon to do the interest stories.
Okay.
He will do that.
Yeah,
Good.
without question.
Yeah, we're off, right? And
Well, you got a quorum of a committee and you're discussing public stuff, so I can't just shut the camera off.
you're on.
Yeah.
I'm asking the question.
Yeah.
We'll get plenty of support for that.
Good.
And articles, and we will also generate those articles. So,
No,
but my hope is that we'll have someone step in, and then I'll work with the business community to partner off, to help them with that. And they'll get their sign right there at the flop, but
Right.
that's good.
That's a great idea. You think?
No, if you can get other groups involved, whether it's the Boy Scouts or other groups involved, it spreads.
Well, and
It
then why
should-
couldn't you get 4-H and Boy Scouts
Yeah,
involved?
yeah, no.
Why couldn't you get, yeah.
I mean, it's a
I
Bring
long
them
list.
all.
I like that part.
Great idea.
There's a long list of
So
groups
this is
that
gonna be a
maybe
sob story, right?
Yeah,
No, it's gonna be a success story is what it's
Sob
gonna
story,
be.
save our blueberries.
right. Save our berries. I got the logo already. We're all set to go. But let's go the first step, and then maybe we'll consider that. And I know, I'm already hearing you're all going into your busy season and everything, but, maybe we get something done for this year with the goal that maybe that's the goal for next year too.
I
We'll
think
see.
that sounds good.
Okay.
Buying in.
Now I accept that motion to adjourn, so.
And I second it.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.